Today, we profile Andreas Widmer, a 6'8" gentle giant whose life was transformed by a saint. Andreas is the director of entrepreneurship programs at the Catholic University of America. And he believes that business is a vocation. He's one of the most engaging 6'8" giants you'll ever meet in your life. He grew up in Lucerne, Switzerland, the youngest of 6 children, and by his own admission, he was an awful student, and his faith was not very important to him at all. In 1986, at age 19, upon the urging of his dad, he got a job as a security guard. His first day on the job was December 24th, 1986, Christmas Eve. They put him in a hallway, about 25 feet long, with a little chair, a little light, a door there, and a door there. He had to work from 4 p.m. till midnight. First day on the job. They said, Andreas, all you have to do is if that door opens, go, turn, and open that door. You got it? That's all you have to do. So here's a 19-year-old kid, lonely on Christmas Eve, and about 7 p.m., this door opens. Brilliant light, and here's a man in all white comes through the door. And the man looks at this 6'8" kid. He says, "You're new, aren't you?" "Yes." "What's your name?" "Andreas Widmer." "Is this the first time you're away from home for Christmas?" And the kid starts to cry. And with that, the man hugs him. "Jack, that's how I met Pope John Paul II. He had become a Swiss guard. That's how I met Saint John Paul II." And he said, "Andreas, at midnight mass tonight, St. Peter's, I'm going to offer it for you and your family." That's how he met the Pope. From 1986 to 1988, 3 years, he served as Pontifical Swiss Guard, protecting Pope John Paul II all over the world. The Swiss Guards have been protecting popes since 1506. The first time he came on the show in 2014, I asked him to tell me a few stories about St. John Paul II. He said, "Jack, if I heard him say once, I heard him say 20,000 times in maybe 50 languages, the 3 most used words in the Bible. It's not love your God, and it's not love your neighbor. 365 times in the Bible, it says, be not afraid." And my goodness, we're all afraid today. That was this Pope's favorite mantra. Jack, I would hear him say it 10, 20, even 50 times a day in 50 plus languages. Be not afraid. Outside St. Peter's is the Vatican Square, St. Peter's Square. And every Wednesday afternoon, 20, 30, 40,000 of the Pope's closest friends would come to see the Pope and listen to the Pope. After he got shot, we had him in the Pope Mobile. We would always want to jump out, hug people, hug babies, etc. He was a people person. We didn't want him to do it. We couldn't stop him. And just outside the square is North American Seminary up on a hill. And this is a seminary where the best seminarians from America go for 3 or 4 years. They're going to be the future bishops, cardinals, etc. They're the 5-star seminary, handpicked. And there was a Father George who had gone to that seminary about 20 years ago. He was serving in Kansas City. And there was a small commission formed at the Vatican where there were going to be about 20 people come for a month, seminars, etc. And they selected this Father George as one of the 20. He had not been back to Rome since he was ordained 20 plus years ago. So he'd been going to the seminary, say, for 2 weeks now. And every morning he'd go to a different church in Rome to say Mass in the morning. A lot of churches in Rome. And one day he's going up the steps and he sees a homeless guy. And he looks at the guy and he says, "Do I know you?" The guy looks at him, looks at Father George, says, "No," and turns his head. "No." "Are you sure?" So he goes into the church, he says Mass, he comes back. There's the guy still sitting on the steps. Father George says, "I know you. What's your name?" And he looks and he says, "Father George, I'm Luigi." And Luigi had been a classmate of his 20 plus years ago. Had become a priest, had done something wrong, got defrocked, and he was a homeless bum. So Father George hugs him, gives him a little money. "Luigi, don't give up hope. God's got a plan for you. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to pray for you, Luigi." So he goes back to that seminar, sits in the normal seat, and by chance, the person next to him that day didn't show up. And about 11 o'clock in the morning, the Pope is walking through the halls with Andreas and says, "Let's go inside. Let's see what they're talking about." The Pope can go anywhere he wants in the Vatican. The Pope can go anywhere he wants in the world. And the Pope sits down next to Father George. And it's a break. Father George says, "Your Holiness, I went and said Mass today at a church. There was a homeless guy on the steps. His name is Luigi. He was a priest, did something wrong, defrocked. Now he's a bum, homeless bum. Would you pray for him, Holy Father?" And the Pope says, "Father George, what are you doing for dinner tonight? What if you go get Luigi and the three of us have dinner in my apartment overlooking the Vatican Square?" Wow. So Father George goes back to that church and Luigi's still there. "Luigi, what are you doing for dinner tonight? What do you say you and I, 6 p.m., go have dinner with Pope John Paul II in his apartment?" "No, no, no, no." "What do you mean, no?" "No, I couldn't. Luigi, you're my meal ticket. Without you, I ain't getting up there. Luigi, I'm taking you." Takes him to his apartment, cleans him up, dresses him up. 6 o'clock, they show up. And the Pope has all of these cardinals always hanging around him. Like rock stars, like sports stars, hangers on. So the Pope says to Andreas, "Get all of these cardinals out of here. When Father George and Luigi come, get them out of here. I just want to have dinner with these 2 men." And Andreas in the corner. So the deal is, after we have dinner, Andreas, get Father George out of here. "Luigi, tell me your story. What happened?" And here comes this tale of woe. Luigi, are you sorry? Oh, Holy Father, I've ruined my life. My purpose in life was to be a priest. I ruined it. That's all I think about all day long, every day. Well, Luigi, I've been looking for a priest to serve the homeless in Rome. And I am the Bishop of Rome, and we are in Rome. So I'll make you a priest again on one condition. Holiness, what's the condition? When I do, Luigi, would you hear my confession? So then Father Luigi hears the Pope's confession and leaves. And here comes the cardinals back in. Holy Father, you give these two guys 3 hours. You know, you give Mother Teresa an hour and a half. You give presidents, dictators an hour. You give us 30 minutes. 3 hours you give these two guys. What happened? Well, we had dinner, boom, boom, boom. Luigi told me his story. I decided to make him a priest again. I heard his confession, and he heard my confession. And the one cardinal says, Your Holiness, that Luigi must have had one long confession. Well, not really. The long one was my confession. Andreas says, Jack, 2 different occasions, we're in the apartment, and he's having lunch, soup, little tea, some bread. He's here, and here is a 4'11" woman, Mother Teresa of Calcutta. And I'm watching them, 2 saints, having lunch together. Andreas believes that Pope John Paul II is the most authentically human person he's ever met. Andreas is the author of The Pope and the CEO, John Paul II's Leadership Lessons to a Young Swiss Guard. There's 5 lessons in that book. 1, encourage people to dream big and keep their eyes on the long term. 2, be fully present for every conversation. 3, show people that you believe in them. 4, view work not as a burden, but as an opportunity. And 5, celebrate entrepreneurship. Andreas found his faith not by anything that St. John Paul II said, but Jack, it was who St. John Paul II was and what the Pope did. Jack, I said to myself, whatever that guy has, that's what I want. Let's go back to April 8th, 2005. Andreas went back, along with 4 million plus people and a TV audience of hundreds of millions of people for the Pope's funeral. Jack, here was the man in a little pine simple box. No more power, no possessions in life. 4 million people came to Rome. And there were about 400 of the most powerful leaders, presidents, dictators, etc., right here. And about 150 cardinals on the steps of St. Peter's, all to honor this man who had no more power and no possession. One of the most amazing days of my life. Andreas believes that business is a vocation, and he talks about the gospel of work. Entrepreneurship is meant to be a force for good. His latest book is entitled The Art of Principled Entrepreneurship, Creating Enduring Value. In this book, he talks about 5 pillars. Pillar 1, the economy exists for people. Pillar 2, to work is to create, and to create is to be human. Pillar 3, culture eats strategy. Pillar 4, PEs create win-win solutions. Pillar 5, always think like an entrepreneur. Andreas is the co-founder of Seven Fund, a philanthropic organization run by entrepreneurs who invest in original research, books, and films to further enterprise solutions to poverty. A few quotes. Do you wish to rise? Begin by descending. You plan a tower that will pierce the clouds. Lay first the foundation of humility. That's from St. Augustine. The most important single central fact about a free market is that no exchange takes place unless both parties benefit. Excellence is something that never is and is always just becoming. In May of 2024, he wrote me his philosophy of life. He asked me to send you a quick note on what I would have to say about my philosophy of life. You're the first person to do that. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to think about that question. Much of what I've learned from having had the great privilege of serving St. John Paul II as a Swiss Guard still informs and guides my life 40 years later. I once heard him say that he preferred how Italians say I love you to those they work with or have a friendship with. They don't say ti amo, they say ti voglio bene, which translates to I want your good. This ethos, deeply Italian at its roots, transcends the conventional expressions of affection, embodying a desire for the holistic flourishing of those around me. It's a philosophy that guides my actions, urging me to see beyond the immediate, to recognize the inherent dignity and potential within each individual in embracing ti voglio bene. I commit to a life where every decision, interaction, and endeavor is infused with the intent to uplift, support, and contribute positively to the lives of others. It's a call to lead with love, to prioritize the well-being of others, and to create environments where everyone can thrive. This philosophy is not just about personal relationships. It extends into the realm of principled entrepreneurship, where the success of our ventures is measured not only by profit, but by the positive impact we have on the world and the common good we serve. Jack, ti voglio bene. Andreas Widmer, Professor of Entrepreneurship, the Bush School of Business. That's the story of this 6'8" gentle giant, Andreas Widmer. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy these messages of inspiration and hope, please like, subscribe, and or share them with family and friends. Until we meet again, please remember, with God, anything is possible. Spohon.